Hello, YouTube. How's everybody doing? Anyway, want to say good morning to you. This is a Saturday morning, and I'm out here getting it in. I decided to do my walk this morning, and it's kind of special where I decided to do my walk is because I came to my old high school. This is Ecorse. It's called Ecorse Community High School in Ecorse, Michigan. It's pretty nice out here today. It's a good day for a walk. A little damp. It rained a little bit last night, but it's okay. It's a nice breeze, which I appreciate that. And I decided to get my walk in. So today, I'm gonna try to get about 2 miles in. And I appreciate being back here to my old high school. Well, let's say my old high school location. And I say that because they tore down the building that of my high school and they built a new one. So I can't exactly relate to the building, although I've since been to several events on the inside. But it's kind of nice to be back here. Being over in this location, it kind of brings back a lot of memories because I used to run track here at this location. We had an old track back then. They got a nice new high-tech track right now. So it's pretty nice. Even the football field has artificial turf and got a little modern, but it's all good. Looks good out here. Brings back a lot of memories. Back in the day, I used to run track, not for long. I think I ran maybe one season, maybe 2 seasons. Anyway, and I wasn't no track star at all. What I was good as a long jump. And so I think the longest my jump was at that time, and this was in the 11th grade. My longest jump at that time was 17 feet. And so for me, back then, that was huge. That was big. So I appreciate that. And so I had a chance to participate in the field events. I did run track a little bit, but it was not on the regular. Coach put me in a 440-yard relay one time. And I'm not fast. I was never the fastest on the team. But I think I ran second leg at the time because I wasn't fast. You know, I couldn't, let's say, in my leg of the race, I don't think I ever gained on anybody, but I was able to maintain, and I guess that was at the very least expected of me. And I wasn't really a member of the 440-yard relay team. I think I was on there because, I don't know, I think one of the guys who normally run, I don't know, he was sick or he pulled a muscle, I don't know what, but anyway, they put me in, and so I was able to maintain, and I don't even remember back then whether we won that particular race or not, but I was never the fastest guy, and I definitely wasn't the slowest guy, but I wasn't the fastest, and I wasn't a star at all. I was more like of the team. I guess I was more like, I'll call the backbone, if you would even call that. But anyway, I appreciate the experience, you know, of competing. I tried out cross country back then, and that didn't last too long because I just never was disciplined enough to run a long distance like that. But anyway, this is going to be an interesting video because I don't have any particular subject I'm gonna zero in on. I'm gonna kind of just talk pretty much about what's on my mind, and that's pretty much it. But my memories of the high school, my old building, you know, my old high school building, and it was called Ecorse High School then. Now it's called Ecorse Community High School. But Ecorse High School back then consisted of an old building, new building, and so we had an old gym, we had a new gym in the new building, and the old gym had an indoor track. And it was an incline indoor track. Only thing about that gym, that track is it wasn't that big, so you had to run a whole bunch of times around it to get a mile out of it. But it was good to have. So that's my memory of my track experience back in the day. But I appreciate my high school experience and my high school days. I never got involved in a whole lot of activities and programs that the high school offer, mainly because, I live in a strict household, so we weren't allowed to go do a whole lot or attend a whole lot. Our parents kind of kept a tight leash on us, so there's a lot of things we missed out on, but I did get a chance to run track, and so I was kind of happy about that. I don't know, my parents was really king on influences. People have certain influences, and they talked a lot about, good company and bad company, and they didn't want us to be in bad company, as they called it. So, but looking back at it, I appreciate what they was trying to teach and what they was trying to do, because I see a lot of things that I avoided as a young guy. There's a lot of things that my friends who I wanted to hang around with, they got in trouble over time, from time to time here and there. And because I wasn't allowed to hang out and be with them, I was able not to be in trouble. But anyway, I just did a quarter mile, a little more than a quarter mile. I'm approaching a half a mile now. It's a beautiful day out here today. So we just gonna get this walk in. Just trying to maintain. Doctor say I need exercise, and that is repeated over and over. I just went to a specialist just recently. The specialist was a podiatrist, and of course he repeated what all of my other specialists and my primary care doctor said. He says you need your exercise, got to get your exercise in. And I was happy that my podiatrist gave me a good report on my feet. My feet's in good shape, good condition. So I was happy to hear that. As an OG, you want to hear good news like that, because you're trying to live a healthy life, and you want to live a quality life. And so that's the whole game plan. Anyway, it's a beautiful day out here. School's out, so I got the track all to myself. I think normally if school was in, there'd probably be football practice going on this early. Well, I think football practice will probably be over by now. They probably back in their first class by now. But anyway, yeah, I went to this high school, and I was fortunate in the sense that I was able to get all my high school credits through the 11th grade. And the 12th grade, I had gotten all my credits to graduate, but I didn't want to graduate a year early. So I got involved with the vocational program, where I got a chance to go to work. I got a chance to work a job and earn credit even from working a job. So the lady who was in charge of that program got me a job working at a bank. So I got a chance to work at a bank on my senior year of high school. So that was a good experience. I already had pretty decent work ethic because, my dad, he's a workaholic. He never rests. He was always working. So I learned to be the same way. Even after I got on my own, I worked a job, and it wasn't too long after that, a few years later, I picked up a second job. So for most of my younger adult life, I worked 2 8-hour jobs, and I maintained that for quite some time. You know, and you don't have a whole lot of life, you know, but you know, you get a chance to save money and do some things. And back in them days, I was able to buy some property, and so that was pretty cool. Anyway, it's a beautiful morning. I'll get my walk in. To show you what my atmosphere looked like out here. See the football fields right to the left of me. It's a beautiful football field. The school put some money into this track and field area. So I come out here and watch them play football from time to time. They do real good. It's just it seemed like toward the end of the season, for some reason, they just don't quite get that championship. But they rack up a lot of wins, but it just, when it comes to playoff time at the end of the season, I don't know, they just ain't quite there. So, but I think they'll do it sooner or later. School got award-winning marching band, so they're pretty entertaining. So I enjoy watching the marching band do their thing. They enter many contests throughout the season, and they always coming home with a win. So that's nice to hear. Brings sense of pride to your high school. It's pretty nice. But I'm here in Ecorse, Michigan. This is where I grew up. This is where it all went down. Ecorse, Michigan. Okay, we over the half-mile mark. I'm getting ready to do 3/4 of a mile. So I got about 1.25 miles to go, because my goal is to do 2 miles. And usually when I go for a walk, I usually do about 2 miles at a time. I really don't have, I don't think, a need to do more than that. You know, what my goals are and what I'm trying to accomplish, 2 miles does it for me. One thing I try to do is whenever I'm doing any kind of exercise, whether it's walking or in the gym, in the weight room, particularly cardio, I try to do 30 minutes of it. Because I read where you do about 30 minutes of cardio or 30 minutes of walk, it gets your heart, if you get your heart rate up and you're able to maintain it in a 30-minute period of time, then you're doing good. You're moving forward. So I appreciate that. Yeah, this track will bring back memories. I remember back in the day, we running, and every now and then we'll call back then a Charlie horse. We get a cramp in your hamstring. And back then, the way we dealt with it, we just get on the ground, get somebody ball up their fist and just pound you on that muscle. And sooner or later, after hitting you a few times, that muscle somehow, it becomes unhinged. But anyway, that was how I dealt with it. And even a couple times, even as an older adult, I've slept in the bed and rolled over and got in a certain position and get a cramp in my leg, and I ended up just beating on my leg, and sure enough, that cramp slowly disappeared. It's still sore, but at least I can move my leg and walk on it. But anyway, I enjoy this. Enjoy walking, and I enjoy just bringing good content to you guys. You know, if you like my content, if you like what I put out, then I'm gonna invite you to give me a thumbs up and share my content, and then subscribe. If you subscribe, it's no obligation at all, just a matter of just hitting the subscribe button. And then if you hit the bell, you'll be among the first to get my content when I upload my next video. But anyway, out here doing my thing, getting it in, trying to maintain a healthy and quality life. Okay, I'm on the fourth leg of my 1 mile portion of my walk. So it won't be long now. I'll just have 1 mile to go. Nice and quiet out here on a Saturday morning. I decided to hit it in the morning because I'm expecting it to get back up in the mid to upper 80s. And I'm thinking, since it rained last night, I think it's gonna get humid. And dealing with the humidity is a little rough. So I'll try to stay somewhere where it's cool when it's humid outside, because when you step outside in the humidity, it's like you stepped into a wet blanket, and immediately all of my clothes stick to my body, and that's a kind of a not so pleasant feeling. But anyway, yeah, pretty soon I'm gonna do several walks in several locations. I want to do a walk in Eastern Market because in addition to my walk, I want to display some of the street art. I call it sophisticated street art because that street art there it's on a whole new level. So hopefully I get a chance to do a walk there. Then hopefully I'm gonna get a chance to try to do a walk at Lower Metro Huron Park. That's a beautiful park. It's kind of got a little trail where you can walk from one end of the park to the other. And that's another scenic type walk. Scenic walks for me is very easy because you get into just looking at, so you're looking at what you're looking at, art, whatever, until you forget how long you've walked. And I like that. We're here walking on the track. You get you see the same thing over and over again. You're just walking in a big oval. And although I'm not tired and I'm not bored, but because I love, number one, I love doing my YouTube videos. Man, that is so much fun, doing YouTube videos. I never thought that I would have so much fun doing YouTube videos. And then another thing that I've observed, and I knew this would happen, but another thing I've observed is I've experienced a lot of personal growth as far as me talking to you on camera, me expressing myself, expressing what I'm doing. You know, I've experienced a lot of personal growth, and so I like that. And so I'm all about trying to be better today than I was yesterday. So anything that's a plus, anything that I can learn new, you know, I want to keep my mind sharp, keep my mind young, keep thinking positive, and that's what I want to do. So I have no problem learning new things. And so being on YouTube has allowed me to grow in this area. You know, I grew up real shy. I didn't talk to a whole lot of people. You know, I had my couple people that I talked to. And I just didn't talk to a lot of people. I was just shy. And I definitely wouldn't talk to a whole bunch of people. I definitely wouldn't, and standing up in front of people, that was just a total no-no. That is something I just didn't do. But I've had the opportunity to stand in front of people and, give a presentation but I've never been a kind of person who can just speak off the cuff. I've always needed a script of some kind to read off of, or I needed some kind of outline where the bullet points of my outline kind of triggers a thought of that general thing that I want to talk about, and I'm able to do it that way. But this personal growth thing is great, man. So I'm getting better and better at this YouTube content, and so I'm having a good time at this. All right, I got a mile to go. I done hit my 1 mile mark, so I got a mile to go. Yeah, those of you who live in and around the Detroit Downriver area, I'm in Ecorse, Michigan, which is a downriver city in a downriver community. And this is the month of July. And if you're familiar with Ecorse, Ecorse sits right on Detroit River. And every Saturday of this month, there's a downriver jazz series going on the river. So you want to come check that out. This is the 3rd year, and it's grown tremendously. And of course, they're not sponsoring my video. It's just that this is my hometown, and I'm proud of my hometown and some of the events that it does and the people that it's starting to attract. And so I've always felt like Ecorse need to be put on the map in other areas, in more areas. So Ecorse is now known particularly for the music artists as a stop. I guess a place where you can come, the sponsors will contract them to come and do a couple shows. So it's real nice that they're doing that. You want to see your hometown, the place you grew up, do good, do well. And so I appreciate that. Man, this breeze feels good, man. This breeze feels good. Yeah, back in the day, those of you from Ecorse or from the surrounding area, being back in my hometown, bringing back memories. You probably won't remember me so much because back when I moved here, I was a young kid, but our family moved here from Chicago back in 1967. And it was kind of like in the heat of the civil rights movement. So back in that time, there's a lot of protests going on. There was some rioting going on. And so I kind of understand why my dad kind of kept tight reins on the kids, because he didn't want us to, I guess, get in a situation where we didn't need to be in. But anyway, my dad, he came and worked in the barbershop. Those of you who remember, he started out working in Hampton's barbershop in the Dixon building Remember, Dixon had a store on the corner, Sally at 15th. So Dad worked in the barbershop until when his partner, Hampton, moved away. He decided to buy a building around the corner, and he started his own barbershop. So he did that for 52 years. So a lot of you locals here, and probably some distant, you'll remember him because he was very well known. Yeah. He had a lot of wisdom, and so he always talked to the young men, you know, about life and how to handle things and situations like that. And so I think that might be also why on some of my own videos, I have a tendency to talk to the young men. You know, I've seen, at my age, I've now seen things. I've experienced things. I've seen other people make pitfalls, and you don't want to see people do that. You want to see people avoid those and move ahead with their life and do well. And so I think some of the old, I guess I'm a part of the old cloth, so to speak. So my dad liked to talk to the young men, and so I guess I did the same thing. I do the same thing, put it that way. I used to be involved in a church, and the church had a men's ministry, and I had the opportunity to co-lead a men's ministry, and that was a good experience. It was growth for me. And then my co-leader, he retired, and I kind of took over that by myself, and it wasn't easy, but I did the best that I knew how to do. I was a leader. I wasn't a lot of churches, their men, ministry leaders are preachers. I wasn't no preacher, but I knew how to, instruct men and lead and guide men and give advice and create some events and activities for men to do. Because, looking at trends, men have a tendency to kind of sit out and do their own thing and not get involved. So that was my experience of being a leader of men. So I still talk to young men, and I know all young men don't listen, and I guess that's okay for them. But for those who choose to and do, yeah, their life, they do well in their life. So, but that's that. Anyway, I got less than a mile to go. I love this breeze, because I imagine had I came here maybe a couple hours later, this breeze might not be out here. But I love it. I love it. Got 3/4 of a mile to go, and I would have completed my 2-mile walk. So I appreciate getting it in. Try to get these walks in at the very least once a week, but my goal is to do it twice a week. And so some weeks I'm able to do that, and other weeks I'm not. Depend on my schedule or what's going on in my life. But we're gonna try to get it in. So that's what this is all about. back in the day. Right across the street from my Ecorse High School here it's now called John F. Kennedy Middle School, I believe, but at that time it was an elementary school. So just walking through here, it reminds me of back in the day. You know, we walked to school back then. So we used to cut through this little field behind the school for a shortcut. But what really comes to mind is back then we didn't have no snow days. You know, now they give them so many snow days. I mean, if it gets too cold, they get a snow day. If it get a little flurries, they get a snow day. They seem to get a snow day every week. Back then, we didn't get snow days. It could snow, and the snow could be 3.5 feet. We still got to walk to school. You know, it took a lot longer to get there, but we still had to go to school. So times have changed. You know, I think nowadays our kids are soft. Are real soft because of the way, you know, kids are treated now. You know, but back then we had to tough it out, and so it built a lot of character in us, and so our character was a lot tougher back then than it is in kids today. So that's one big life observation that I have in terms of, you know, the character and how we treat our kids now in comparison to back then. So that thought crossed my mind as I do my little walk here. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna show this video all the way through 2 miles. I don't think so, but just thought I'd give you a little slice of my little workout, my little walk, just fulfilling what my doctors told me to do. Told me you need some exercise, so I said, yes ma'am. So I'm getting my exercise in. Yep, get my exercise in. The sun is starting to get pretty hot. So it's what I suspect, that the later it gets, the hotter it gets. And so it's all good. I love this time of year. I think I can cool off better than I can warm up. You know, a lot of people say, how can you like this hot weather? Well, for me, I don't work outside. I don't have to be outside long periods of time. For me, it's just a matter of being in a particular building wherever I am, and going from the building to my car, which is cool, it's air. So I have air in the building, air in the car. So if I have to sweat, it's usually just between the building and my car. So I guess that might account for the attitude I have toward, you know, being hot outside. I don't have to be out here a long period of time. So that's been my attitude toward being hot. This is my favorite time of the year. And so I appreciate that, because I tell you, 6 months from now, I'm gonna be complaining. I'm gonna be complaining how cold it is and how much I hate winter. So that's me. I hate winter with a passion. At one point, you know, I was living in Chicago, and I was working in the hotel industry at the time. And so I asked my boss to check to see if I can get a job in Los Angeles, because I was really trying to get away from the winter. You know, I really admired on New Year's Day watching the Rose Parade, watching the Rose Bowl game, and here it's in January and they're in short sleeve, and so I said I want to move there. So I got a chance to move there. So I was there almost 10 years, but it's so expensive out there at the time, and I know it is now too. It's really expensive out there now because inflation is crazy. But I moved out there to escape the winter. But it's so expensive out there. I was really discouraged because I was making money, but I wasn't saving none because I had to live. So out of discouragement, I ended up coming back to Michigan at the time. So I've been in the winter weather ever since. Well, anyway, that's my story about me not liking the winter and loving my favorite time of the year, which is summer. And so I'm gonna get ready to end the video. But once again, I'm gonna encourage you, if you like my content, if you like following my channel, I'm gonna ask you to give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And I'm gonna ask you to subscribe too. You know, my goal is to grow the channel and to create a community. And then it helps too, because by you subscribing, you know, YouTube is trying to find my tribe, so to speak. It's trying to find the people who are interested in the same thing I'm interested in. And so if it's able to do that, my channels get shown, it gets put out there so people can watch. So I appreciate that. So share the channel, you know, share it on Facebook, you know, share it wherever you can, and let people know, hey, check out this guy. You know, he's worth checking out. But anyway, I only got about a half a mile to go, but I'm gonna let you all go, and y'all take care. Have a great day. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.